Welcome to Beyond Mindset Limits with Tisha Marie Cain. Here, we explore how unlocking your mindset can pave the way for unlimited success. Discover how to create opportunities through legal challenges and transform your business and life with effective public relations strategies. Get ready to elevate your journey and maximize your potential. Now, let's welcome your host, Tisha Marie Cain.
Hello, you guys. Welcome back to Beyond Mindset Limits. This is where we go beyond the surface level thinking and into real transformation. The kind that changes your life if you want it. It can change your business and it can change who you become. I'm your host, Tisha Marie Cain. I'm the CEO and founder of Beyond Mindset Limits. I'm a publicist, publisher. I'm a transformational expert. I've gone from the courtroom to the microphone, helping people win in life, win in business, and win beyond that. This platform is about elevating voices, expanding perspectives, and bringing you the tools to truly step into your own power. And today, this conversation is personal to me, and I wanted to share today because today's show is pretty spectacular. It's my birthday, and I get to record on my birthday, August 26th. I was born in 1976, so that means I am Tisha 5.0 today. 1976, 2026. This is where I was a bicentennial baby, and I wanted to talk about something that's really, really special. Okay, so let's start with a question. What if the wisdom you've spent your entire life searching for in books, in teachers, coaches, in relationships, successes, and in failures and other people's opinions has been living inside of you the entire time, but you've been too busy judging yourself to hear it? And here's an even bigger question. What might you discover about yourself if you committed to doing one meaningful thing for 100 days without quitting, without cheating yourself, and without requiring yourself to be good at it first? Because I've discovered something fascinating. And sometimes wisdom doesn't arrive as an answer. Sometimes wisdom arrives at a practice. Sometimes it looks like picking up a paintbrush, and sometimes it looks like writing one page. Sometimes it looks like walking 1 mile or meditating 10 minutes, starting the business, having the conversation, practicing the piano, or going to the gym. Keeping one promise to yourself over and over and over again. And somewhere inside that repetition, something extraordinary begins to happen. Eventually, the project you think you were working on begins working on you. And that's what today's show is about. The wisdom within. Okay, so let me preface this. Last year, I decided to undertake one of my greatest personal development experiences that I have ever done. And what it was is I committed to 100 days of art every day, creating something. And then my husband joins me. So I start painting trees and he sketched out German barns. Now that sounds sweet. Then I tell you the story, after the fact. This was two people sitting together creating art for 100 days. But that's not exactly what happened internally, because somewhere around the first few trees, another participant showed up. And that was my inner critic. And she had opinions, and she had big opinions. Things like, who do you think you are, Miss Tisha Marie Cain? Oh, you think you're an artist? Oh, that tree's terrible. That doesn't even look like a tree. You don't even know what you're doing. Other people could do this better. And there were trees I painted that I disliked so much that I threw them straight into the trash, not metaphorically either. This was literally, I would paint, judge, trash, paint, judge, trash. And that was what I did. And my husband was having his own internal conversation while sketching those German barns. So suddenly we weren't simply making art together. We were getting a front row seat to the way we spoke to ourselves when we weren't immediately good at something. And that's when we created a rule for our household. And the rule is this: produce first, judge later. So I want you to think about that. Produce first, judge later, because most people do the opposite, like we did. We judged before we produced. We judge while we were producing. Sometimes we judge so quickly that we never produced anything at all. Someone says, I've always wanted to write a book, and then immediately say, well, who's going to read my book anyway? Or I've always wanted to paint, but I'm not real artistic. I've thought about, starting a business, but then you go, I don't even know enough. Or I want to go back to school, but maybe I'm too old, right? All of that inner critic shows up. The creation never gets a chance to exist because judgment is killed in the womb. And that became my first great lesson. And I want to share it with you today because I'm a teacher and I'm a preacher and I do all the things. So write this down. You cannot discover what is inside you if you refuse to let it come out. Let me say that again. You cannot discover what is inside you if you refuse to let it come out. So one of my greatest mentors is Tony Robbins, right? He has changed so many lives. If you ever went to any of his retreats, you can't beat him. This guy transforms lives just by being in the room. And Tony Robbins talks extensively about limiting beliefs, those external and internal stories about who we are and what we're capable of. And that's a fascinating thing. And this limiting belief is what I teach my clients all the time, that they say, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm like, well, okay, cool. When did you decide that, right? It's a fascinating thing about limiting beliefs is that they often masquerade as truth. I'm not an artist. That's not exactly a fact. It may simply mean I haven't developed the ability yet, right? And this is what I teach people. They say, I'm not disciplined. And I say, well, maybe, or perhaps you're simply never practiced discipline long enough to create evidence that you can trust yourself. Or they say, I'm not creative. And I say, well, how do you know? When was the last time you created something for 100 consecutive days? We turn temporary evidence into permanent identity. One bad painting becomes, I can't paint. And that's exactly what happened to me. One unsuccessful business attempt becomes, I'm not an entrepreneur. One difficult relationship becomes, I'm bad at relationships. One rejection becomes, nobody wants me. No one likes me. But be very, very careful with that. An experience is not an identity. It's a result. A result is not an identity. A mistake is not an identity. It's all information. And I talk about this every week ad nauseum. It's just information. Don't make it bad and don't make it good. This is where the practice begins working on you. So discipline is a mirror. So let me explain that. People often think of discipline as punishment, and it's not. They hear 100 days and immediately think, that sounds exhausting. But my experience was different. I learned that discipline can become a mirror because when you commit to something for long enough, eventually all of your excuses have to come to the surface. At first, you're excited. Day 1, it's easy. Let's go. Day 2, I'm excited. Day 3, you're still taking pictures. You're telling everyone about your new project. This is my story. Then comes day 17 and day 42 and day 63, and no one's clapping and no one really cares. You're tired. You're busy. You don't feel particularly inspired by what you're doing anymore. And this is where the real practice begins. One of my favorite mentors is Jim Rohn. He built most of his philosophy around the enormous power of simple disciplines practiced consistently. And I love that because transformation often isn't dramatic and it's boring, right? I don't mean boring like negatively. I mean like by its repetition. You have to do it again and again and again and until something compounds. We understand compounds financially. and we understand compound interest, but there's also compound identity, right? Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you make a tiny deposit into self-trust. Day 1, I showed up. Day 17, hey, I showed up. Day 48, I didn't feel like it, but I showed up. Day 79, I want to quit, but I showed up. And then day 100, now I possess the evidence, and I look for evidence in everything. I don't have to tell myself I'm disciplined. I have receipts. I showed myself. And that's very, very different, right? And I tell my family and my friends all the time, Miss Tisha Marie Cain is very consistent. I show up every single time. And I did a little social experiment because it's like every time my friends call, I'm always on the other side of the phone. My family calls, I'm always going to pick up. And if I don't pick up immediately, I'm calling you back within 5 minutes. That's who I am. I just consistently show up for my family and friends. I'm that faithful friend, that faithful sister who's always going to be there for you. And I did a little social experiment last week, and I called 2 of my friends, and I went right to voicemail, and I didn't get calls back. But you know what? There was no judgment in it, and there was forgiveness in it. And you don't know that life was lifing them. They were busy, but I do my life different, right? I do my life because I show up consistent, and I'm very disciplined. Discipline creates evidence about who you are. And that evidence becomes so powerful. And in my life, it's become so powerful. Mel Robbins even teaches things that fits beautifully here. Her definition of confidence is essentially the willingness to try. So do you have the confidence? Do you have the willingness to try something new? Do you know how many people say, oh, I'm not an artist? Because I said that too last year until I committed to this project, 100 days of art, right? And then I decided, okay, I'm going to niche down, right? In the coaching space, people always say niche down. If you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. So niche down. So I'm like, okay, I could do 100 days of art, or you know what? I'm going to do trees. And what I found in the process of painting these trees, I channeled in my Bob Ross. He was the greatest tree painter. He was the one who said, these happy little trees, right? And as I did this practice, this personal development practice over 100 days of the wisdom of the trees, boy, did I get the confidence. Boy, did I get the wisdom from that, right? So the inner critic is not inner wisdom. And I want to make a distinction here. That is where I want to really point it out for you. Not everything happening inside your head is wisdom, because I thought it was, and it certainly was not. We use phrases like, listen to your inner voice, okay? Which one? Because there are several people talking in there sometimes, right? In my head, I'm like, okay, is this the legal mind? Is this the artistic mind? Is this the clinical hypnotherapist talking? Is this the coach talking? Is this the mom? We wear a lot of hats. What inner voice is inside me that's talking right now? Because there are several people that I have to distinguish. There's intuition, there's fear. On top of that, there's conditioning and memory and ego. There's embarrassment. There's your mom inside your head, your father, your teacher, the kid who made fun of you in 7th grade, your old boss, your ex-lover, society, social media. And somewhere underneath all of that noise is something much quieter, and it's wisdom. And I love wisdom because wisdom, I believe, is education plus experience equals wisdom. The problem is that fear often screams while wisdom whispers. That internal critic says, you can't paint birds realistically, Tisha Marie Cain. My wisdom didn't scream back, yes, I can. My wisdom was quieter. Wisdom said, paint the bird anyway. That distinction matters here for you guys, because sometimes we think personal development means winning an argument with a negative voice. I don't think you necessarily need to win the argument. You can simply stop obeying it. Your mind says, that bird looks weird. Okay, paint another one. And that's exactly what I did. Some of my birds look demented and weird, but you know what? I kept going I kept going. I went from the wisdom of the trees to the wisdom of the birds, and I produced 2 books in 2 years, and it was 100 days each of art, right? And so I just kept going, paint another one. And then I heard in my voice, you're not an artist. And I said, okay, well, I'll paint another one. And eventually something strange happened. The voice realized that nobody was listening. And that's tremendous freedom. Joe Dispenza, he teaches about becoming conscious of the unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotion. In other words, you begin catching the program while it's running. And that is exactly what happened to me. The art created the circumstances necessary for me to hear my programming. If I hadn't painted the tree, I would not have never heard, you're not good enough. If I hadn't attempted the bird, I would not have heard, you're not an artist. The resistance revealed the belief. Think about your own life here. Sometimes everything you're avoiding contains a map to the belief that is holding you back. That conversation that you won't have, that business that you won't start, the camera that you won't turn on, the photograph that you won't post. Who cares anyway? Nobody cares, right? There's several posts out on my social media where I'm just running through the grass and I'm like, 3 reasons to be wild and free. And I put number 1, no. Number 2, 1. And number 3, cares. No one cares. And the more you live in your joy, you go from happiness to joy to bliss. No one really cares anyway. Just do the art. Ask yourself, what do I believe would happen if I actually tried? And then now we're getting somewhere because the answer exposes the programming. Resistance often reveals the exact belief asking to be examined. I was sitting across the kitchen table from my husband, and I was painting these little trees. And all of the stuff coming up in my mind and my head was all the trash. I'm like, I'm a personal transformational expert. I help people on their limiting beliefs every single day. I have helped thousands of clients shift out of these limiting beliefs. And here I was as a coach sitting at my kitchen table, listening to the trash inside my own head. And guess what? I just kept going. Just keep going, right? Something beautiful happened. That 100 trees became the wisdom of the trees. And those trees needed companions, birds. So I started creating what exactly became the wisdom of the birds. But I wasn't the same woman who had started those first trees. And that's important. That repetition, that 100 nights of commitment, it changed me. It showed me how I could allow all of the trash to come up. I could deal with it. I can have self-aware. And then every stroke of the paintbrush became an act of love. I'm just going to sit here for 3 hours at the kitchen table after supper, and every stroke of this pen is going to be sent with love. And I tell you guys right now, after the 100 days of trees, I am so intimate with my book, The Wisdom of the Trees, and I'm very intimate with my book. I painted these 100 trees and thought, ooh, okay, that was hard and fun. And now these little trees need little companions, and so they became birds. But I wasn't the same woman when I started painting the birds, and that's important. The repetition had changed who I was and how I was showing up. By the time I reached the birds, something had loosened in me. I wasn't gripping so tight. I wasn't demanding that every bird be perfect. And I began allowing the birds to arrive however they wanted to arrive. Some were beautiful, some were playful, some were cringe, some were whimsical. Some probably didn't resemble anything that you could even recognize. And I started to love them because I stopped asking, does this bird look correct? And I began asking, what wants to come through today? Some of my birds look like cartoons. Some of them look realistic. Some of them are crazy, weird, and funny, right? And I allowed the bird to come through and express itself the way that it wanted to come through. And that's an entirely different creative relationship. I wasn't learning to paint birds. I was learning how to stop controlling myself. And that was huge. And I want you to get this. I was unraveling perfection in the discipline. And perfection is fascinating because we often dress it up with excellence, and they're not the same. Excellence says, let me give this my best. And perfectionism says, my best is unacceptable unless it protects me from judgment. And excellence creates, perfectionism constricts. Excellence learns, and I'm committed to excellence. Perfectionism performs. Excellence can tolerate mistakes. Perfectionism often treats mistakes as identity threats. And the birds, ooh, I tell you, those birds, they taught me freedom. And that's why I say the project you think you're working on begins working on you. And I thought, I'm creating a bird. But the bird was asking, Miss Tisha Marie Cain, can you release the control? Can you let me be imperfect? Can you stop turning creativity into an audition, right? Can you stop asking everyone else for permission? And I caught myself doing that. I would hold up my little bird and ask my husband, does he look cute? And I just love the little bird. And I just wanted my husband to give me confirmation. And then I realized, oh, no, this bird is perfect exactly how it is, right? So the art, the practice, the discipline was, can you let this project be fun? Can you love something simply because you made it? Imagine bringing that into your life. Imagine approaching your business with more play. Your parenting, your marriage, your body, your spirituality, the writing, the dreams, all of it. When did adulthood convince us everything meaningful had to become serious? I think actually seriousness is the real pandemic here, right? It's like we're too serious. Can you allow yourself to play? Some of the deepest transformation I've ever experienced came while I was painting, while I was playing in the paint and doing art. Play can take you places that the force cannot. And I realized this through my 100 days of art. And that 100 days of art was hard. But then fast forward a year later, I was like, okay, let's continue to have this discipline practice, and let's put these birds out into the universe. Let's put them out for people to see and feel. And it became so amazing. And now, guess what? I'm working on my third book, The Wisdom of the Fish, because I thought, okay, we've got the earth, we got the sky, and we definitely need the water. And I love saying that because I know something now that I didn't know when I first started painting that first tree. I don't know. I didn't need to know exactly what the fish was going to teach me yet, but I know it's going to teach me wisdom. The tree taught me about growth, about roots, about patience. The birds taught me about freedom and expression. And now these little fish are going to come through and they're going to teach me to swim beneath the surface. So let me pause right there, and we're going to take a moment for our sponsors. And when we come back, I want to wrap a bow around this whole project of the wisdom within. Thanks, guys. Hold on right there.
Did you know that most people spend thousands more than they need to on legal services, simply because they do not know they have options? The truth is, the right legal support can save you time, money, and unnecessary stress. At Cain's Legal Support, we have spent over 22 years helping individuals and families navigate the legal system with confidence, without the overwhelm and without the inflated costs. Whether you are facing a divorce, custody battles, landlord-tenant issues, civil or criminal matters, or even small claims, we are here to guide you every step of the way. We specialize in document preparation, private mediation, and personalized legal support, giving you the tools you need to move forward with clarity and control. And we do not stop there. From notary services to wedding officiating, Cain's Legal Support is your full-service legal concierge, because your life does not fit in a box, and your legal support should not either. If you are ready for legal guidance that actually works for you, visit CainsLegalSupport.com today. Justice for all, give us a call. That is CainsLegalSupport.com.
Have you ever wondered why you can know exactly what to do and still feel like something inside keeps pulling you back? You tell yourself, I'm done being angry. I'm done carrying sadness. I'm done feeling fear, guilt, shame, or not good enough. But no matter how strong, successful, or self-aware you are, the pattern keeps showing up. That is because most people are trying to change their life from the surface, when the real programming lives in the subconscious mind. Meet Tisha Marie Cain, clinical hypnotherapist, NLP practitioner, and founder of Beyond Mindset Limits. Tisha helps people go directly to the root cause of the emotional patterns and limiting beliefs that have been running their lives behind the scenes. Hypnotherapy is not magic. It is not mind control. It is focused subconscious work that allows clients to bypass the noise, access the root, and begin transforming the belief where it was first created. Anger, sadness, fear, guilt, shame. Not good enough, not safe, not worthy, not lovable. These are not just emotions. They are often protective programs the mind created long ago. Through her 90-minute hypnotherapy sessions, Tisha guides clients into the subconscious mind to release what no longer belongs to them and begin installing a new way of thinking, feeling, and becoming. For many of her clients, one session creates a breakthrough they have been chasing for years. If you are ready to stop managing the pattern and finally transform it at the subconscious level, this is your invitation. Book your 90-minute hypnotherapy session with Tisha Marie Cain at Beyond Mindset Limits. Sessions are available in office, on Zoom, or by private appointment. Because healing does not have to take forever. Sometimes you just need the right access point. Beyond Mindset Limits. Go to the root, release the limits, become the version of you that was always waiting underneath.
All right, you guys, we are back with Beyond Mindset Limits. I am your host, Tisha Marie Cain. You can find me on all platforms. You can go to my website at www.tishamariekain, CAIN, and yes, it is biblical.com. And you can schedule an appointment with me there, whether you want to publish your book. I do hypnotherapy. I love hypnotherapy. It is the fast track to healing. And we are in a season of life right now. And today is my birthday. I just started a new book in my life. And I know there's a new season and a new opportunity to pause and reconnect and listen to our inner wisdom. And today's show is about the wisdom within. Today's show is helping you. If you want it, if you don't want it, I get it too. You know, some people love to sit in their suffering. Some people say, I can't. And my family never uses that word, nor do we ever say we're sick. We never say we're sick. We always say our cells are rejuvenating themselves. My body is healing. We do not use these bad language words. We don't say we're sick, and we never say we can't, because we can. And so I'm giving you the medicine today. And I believe that love is medicine. And I'm coming in hot and heavy with teaching you and preaching to you that the wisdom is within. And we are in a season of life right now where things might feel uncertain. And I'm giving you the freaking cheat codes to get your life in order. Turn off the dang phone, quit doom scrolling, and put it away. And I typically do social experiments. And the other night we went out to supper and I asked my family, I said, okay, so if my phone is sitting on the table at dinner, how does that make you feel? And they said, That's all they said. I said, well, if I take my phone and turn it upside down at the dinner table, how does that make you feel? Oh, good, Mom. I like that one. Cool. I said, what if I take my phone and I put it in my purse? And they're like, oh, yeah, that's great. That, I know that you're fully here. You're not answering business calls. I said, what if I told you I would take my phone tonight? I'm just going to leave it in the car because I want to be extremely present at this restaurant. And I want to hear everything that you guys have to say. And I want to have some good chats. How would that make you feel? And my family's like, wow, you would do that for us? I said, heck yeah, let's do it now. Right. So I'm giving you the tools, the tips, and the tricks as it gets noisy, you guys, on the outside. Turn down the noise and go to the wisdom within. You have everything that you need inside of you. You don't even need me here on this radio show telling you what to do, but I'm so very blessed that God took me into the trenches of my life, into anger, sadness, fear, guilt, shame, not good enough, because I had to work through all of that to get to where I am today at age 50, because today is my birthday. And so we're here talking about the wisdom within. And principle number 5 is stop demanding the journey tell you its lesson before you agree to begin, right? So some lessons can only be understood from the other side. So let's get going, right? My best friend tells me my theme song is Michael Jackson. You got to be doing something. You got to be doing something. And that's so my life. It's like, no, what are we creating? What are we giving birth to? And I really come into correction and revision and awareness around my life and who I am. And I just think 50 is a level. I'm at a different level than you. I'm at level 50. So let's go, right? And creating the discipline to turn down the noise. I want to challenge you here. Okay, lean in for this. Reach over and turn up your radio dial. If you're traveling up the I-15 right now, down Victorville into Barstow, I just came that way yesterday. If you're traveling, reach over and turn up the radio. And I want you to hear me for this moment. I want to challenge you because personal development can become another spectator sport. People read, watch videos, attend seminars, listen to podcasts, highlight books, save motivational posts, and they never actually practice it, right? Information without application can become sophisticated procrastination. And I say that all the time. And let me say that again because you have your radio turned up heck loud. Information without application can become sophisticated procrastination. If you could hear the passion in my voice, come on, you guys. At some point, you gotta do something. And when do you do it? Don't cheat yourself. Go all in. Play full out. Because I believe you receive at the level at which you give. If you give 10% of yourself to the experiment, you may get 10% insight. If you practice only when it's convenient, you may learn what convenience can teach you. But what happens when you truly commit? Not obsess, not punish yourself, but just commit. And there's a difference. You commit to 100 days. What would happen? Think about that mathematically. If you write one page every day for 100 days, you have 100 pages. And if you walk every day for 100 days, imagine your relationship with movement. And if you meditate every day for 100 days, imagine your relationship with your thoughts. If you painted every day for 100 days, imagine your relationship with creativity. What if you practice gratitude for 100 days? What happens to your attention? And I am big on this. What you focus on grows. And I was just having that conversation today at lunch, and I wish I would have recorded our conversation, because what you focus on grows. If you're focusing out on all the doom and gloom of all the noise and not focused in and disciplined in on what you want to create, you're going to see all the baloney. So what do you want to focus on, right? What if you practice gratitude for 100 days? Not only you, but then you get your partner involved, and then you get your child involved, and then you get your parent involved. What if you got 4 of you? Because God says where 2 or more come together, so it is. What if the 4 of you got together and you were laser focused on, okay, guess what? For the next 100 days, everything that we put in our mouth will not have sugar, or whatever your commitment is. If you consciously compliment your spouse every day for 100 days, guess what will happen to your marriage? If you spend 30 minutes developing your business every day for 100 days, what happens to your business? And here's the deeper question. What happens to you? That's the experiment. That's why I did this. Everyone focuses on the output, the pages, the painting, the pounds, the revenue, the followers, the skill. I'm asking you to watch the person emerging behind that output. What happened when you wanted to quit? What did you say to yourself? What excuse appeared repeatedly? You know, a lot of people, they tell me, oh yeah, I want to be physically healthy. I want to be physically fit. I want to lose 10 pounds. But then they go and drink a sugary Starbucks drink. Okay, that's incongruent. That's not aligned with your values. And then I run their value system, and their value system health is not even in there. So they're out of congruence, right? Things start to become easier when you start listening to your inner wisdom. And that's what the real journal is, when you start journaling, because you're not simply measuring, what can I create? You're observing, who am I becoming in this disciplined practice? So here's what I want you to do. Choose one thing, not 10, one, something that calls to you, something that's meaningful enough to matter, but playful enough that you'll engage with it. I committed to 100 days, right? So I committed to 100 days of trees. I published my book last year, and it's basically, this book is so remedial, you guys. This book is so like basic kindergarten level. This is what I published. I got 100. Actually, I ended up doing like 135 trees, and I couldn't pick. So I just published all 135 trees. And I put the art in there, and then I called it the I Am series, the Wisdom of the Trees, the I Am series by Tisha Marie Cain. You can find it out on Amazon today. Just run my name. I'm a 7 times gold medal published author, artist, all the things. And this book is kindergarten level. Let's be real. What you do is you open the book and you say a little prayer before you open the book, and you say, thank you, God, for all the blessings I have in my life, right? Because we're focusing on blessings and gratitude. Thank you, God, for all the blessings we have in our life. And you take the little lookbook and you open up to any page. And I currently am just opened up this book in front of me. I opened up to this beautiful art, and it's one of my favorites, of these trees, of this man standing in the forest. And it says, I am in harmony with the universe. And boy, am I. Right. And then all day, because I opened the book in the morning, all day I'm looking for me being in harmony, not balance, but harmony with the universe, and using this lookbook. So I committed to 100 trees of art for 100 days, published this little lookbook, and it becomes a little purse guide. I open it every day. So I committed to 100 days. Your practice might be 100 days of writing, art, walking, strength training, meditation, prayer, photography, cooking, music, all the things, you guys. Studying something new, learning. Like right now, like if you've graduated from our public school system and now you graduated and now you're like, okay, I'm out of school, you still need to be learning something, right? Go to YouTube school or something, learn the AI. Like, don't just say, okay, my learning stops. No, we need to be, what if you committed to 100 days of free YouTube shorts on how to develop and use AI. Imagine how you can create a little side business on the side and do postings for someone on the side and make an extra $300 a month. Right? I believe there's nothing more fantastic than this time right now being alive, because there are more ways to make money than you could ever even dream of. I didn't even know the wisdom of the trees was going to make me money. I just committed to the project. I put the trees out, even though the itty bitty crappy committee in my head kept showing me all the things that I guess I needed to hear, because I needed to clear up all of that stuff in my head. Right. And I didn't even know this project was going to make me money. I had sold so many books that I got to take a trip to Las Vegas on the book sales. So my husband and I drove from middle of California all the way to Las Vegas for a weekend on my book sales alone. And it wasn't even a project that I was even care. I didn't even care to make money. I was just wanted to be in the discipline and in the practice that, okay, at 5 o'clock, phone goes away. We have supper. We clear the supper table. And then from 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 to 3 hours at the dinner table, I'm going to be painting my trees. I'm going to turn on some music, an audio book. I'd read so many listened rather to so many audiobooks during that time. I was well versed in a lot of things. That was my education and my art all in one. I love to have it stacked to make things easier. Right. So I did all of those things and I was like, whoa, okay. Wow, it really made a difference. I didn't even know it was going to, give me extra money in my pocket. So let's revisit this. Rule 1, produce first, judge later. Do not require today's work to be brilliant. Today's responsibility is to show up, right? Just show up. Right? If you say, I am committed to releasing, we don't lose weight, because if you lose weight, you can find it. We will shed weight or we will release weight. If you are committed to releasing 20 pounds, can you commit to 100 days of going to the gym? Right? Even if you don't even go in, get your butt in the car and drive to the gym. Just commit to getting your butt in the car and driving to the gym. And chances are you're probably going to go in, which is great. And I'll be over there cheerleading you, and you can send me an email. Miss Tisha Marie Cain, I did it. And I'm like, I know, right? Because I've done it, right? So just show up. Rule 2, don't cheat yourself. You choose the practice. You honor it. And you don't need to impress anyone. No one may even know what you're doing. This is between you and you. Right? No one even needs to know what you're doing. Can you commit? Right? Do a secret commitment to yourself, because the amount of pride, the amount of joy, the amount of evidence you get after that disciplined practice, huge. Right? I first started out doing 75-day hard challenge, and then I did a 75-day soft challenge. And then I did a 75-day running challenge. And then I did 100 days of painting trees. And then 100 days of painting birds. And now I'm on to 100 days of painting fish. Now, I tell you right now, there's something magical in the fact I think I have like 45 or 46 little fish right now. And when I look at my art as a collective, I'm like, wow, this is not AI. This is my own intentions, my own design. I'll get a fish inspiration on, one of the apps or internet or something, but I'll go about it on my own and just do the little fish. And so now I have this body of work that I'll be able to gift to my kids if they want it. If not, it might be worth millions of dollars after I go meet Jesus. You never know, right? I just do it because it's fun and I get to turn down the noise. I don't have to look outside of all of this nasty stuff happening. I don't see it. I don't see it anymore because I believe I'm living heaven on earth. I believe I'm living on the new earth. And it's because I'm very disciplined. I'm disciplined in my heart. I'm disciplined in my mind. I'm disciplined in my spirit. I'm disciplined in my truth, right? So don't cheat yourself. The rule 3, document the voice. When resistance appears, write it down. Write down. Okay. So you're like, okay, I know I'm disciplined, but right now I'm too tired. Write it down. This is stupid. I'm not good enough. Nobody cares anyway. Why am I doing this? I'm behind. I'm terrible at this. And don't immediately try to make it disappear. Just study it. So if you write down, I'm too tired, just study it. Okay, why? What's the secondary gain I get by telling myself I'm too tired? I get to be lazy. Oh, okay. So now I'm going to cheat myself and I'm not going to be disciplined, right? That's why I like to play little games with myself, because there's no one more attuned to who I am than me, because I'm like, okay, I'm harder. I was like that as a kid. Were any of you like this? Like, you would go to school and you'd mess up and you were harder on yourself than the teacher was. I'm that person, right? If I mess up, no one's, oh man, I'm going to be harder on myself than anyone else. I had that happen to me last week. I filed all the legal documents for a client, and the client came back and said, hey, was this one supposed to be filed too? Because I didn't see that in the PDF that you sent over. And I'm like, yeah, that one is normally supposed to be filed. And then I freaked out. I'm like, how did I miss that? It comes from, not good enough. Like I have a checklist for everything. Well, how did I miss that? Okay, I missed it because what I did is I went into that county, and that county's local court rules didn't require it. So I didn't miss it at all, but my client freaked me out, right? So I was like, I'm harder on myself than anybody else. So I just listened to that. Right? Don't immediately make it disappear. Study it. Become curious. Whose voice is that? Right? If they say, when I was doing a couple of these trees, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so ugly. I'm like, okay, whose voice is that? Whose voice? Oh, that's that 4-year-old, self. Oh, that tree looks like it's demented. Oh, who's that? Oh, that's 6-year-old, bully, whatever. Right? And so I kept getting curious and asking, whose voice is that? And then I asked, when did I start believing that? Right? I was like, okay, when did I start believing that? Okay, that's a limiting belief. Disregard it. So rule number 4 is look for the lesson behind the activity. Every 10 days, ask, what is this practice teaching me about myself? Not, am I better at painting? No. Ask, what am I learning about Tisha? That's what I said. What am I learning about Tisha? What am I learning about myself? Okay. I had to take a breath. Am I learning patience? Control? I was very judgmental. I had tons of opinions about my art. And I kept saying, oh, you think you're an artist? Oh, yeah, right. Your tree looks disgusting. And then when I went out, I started learning about my worthiness and my confidence. And I'm like, every tree looks different out here on the natural, normal world. Why am I judging my trees in the art, right? So rule 5, play full out. Don't go through the motions just to check the box. Bring yourself to it. You'll receive at the level of which you give, right? It's in the moments. And I just told my best friend this over the weekend. I leaned in and I just said, I want you to have my full heart right now. If there's ever a moment in your life you ever needed me, you just have to call. And I just want to say that to you, because I'm turning 50, and this is a moment in my life that I don't want to pass by. If I love you and you're important to me, I want you to know, I have 2 biological sisters. I have 2 cosmic sisters. I have this group of people that I love, and I just want to express it to you. I want to play full out in this life. I did not come to play a small game. And I think that's why about 10 years ago, I was in the trenches. Oh my gosh. It was the hardest part of my life. I was going through the family court. It was so disgusting and heart-wrenching. And you can read that story in Radical Freedom and Radical Courage. I wrote those books, and it's disgusting. But you know what? I know I was meant to go deep. I was meant to feel the pain, because I transmuted the pain and I alchemized the pain in order to help me, help my family, help my community, help people. And this is what I do. This is my life's work. I bring my full self to the table. And that's why I get a little grumpy when someone says, hey, can you give me a discount? No, I can't give you a discount. Because the reality is, if I give you a discount, I'm still bringing my full self to the table. That don't make sense, right? I can't okay, yeah, I'll give you a discount and I'll just bring only 75% of myself. No, that's not who I am. I play full out. You have me. I'm all in. I am pouring in to you. And I had a client, oh my gosh, I was playing full out. I had a client, I'm going to read you this. Hold on a minute. She messaged me not today, but yesterday. And you got to hear this message, okay? And she goes, hi, I know I've been avoiding you and I wasn't ready to change. And I've just been going through a hard time right now. And I'm stuck in that identity of going through the family court, and it hasn't been fair on me and it hasn't been fair on my children, and my whole life is a wreck, and I should have paid attention to you 3 years ago and I didn't, and now I'm ready. And I said, great, let's freaking go. Because I told her 3 years ago, I'm like, hey, if this doesn't get cleared up, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. Like a fortune teller, right? I was telling her, I mean, I have the experience and the education. So the wisdom came on, and I was trying to save this girl from her suffering. But I also know you can't save people from their suffering, which totally sucks, because I really don't want humanity to suffer. I am a humanitarian. I'm here that I believe that love is medicine. Right? Anything that's meant to divide us is not love, right? If it is division, that is not love. And I'm here to bring love, and I'm here to play full out. I want to bring everything home. I created the wisdom of the trees. I created the wisdom of the birds. Both of these books are live now on Amazon. You can get one or both. I suggest you get both. And now I'm creating the wisdom of the fish. Outside of the creation of my 4 children, okay? I've given birth to 4 beautiful children. 3 of them I haven't seen in 10 years, but they'll come home someday. So if you're listening to this radio station, please hold that vision that one day all 4 of my children will one day be at my supper table, and it will be the most magnificent day in my whole entire life. That is my desire and my wish. But outside of that creation of my 4 children, these books represent something of the creations of the proudest moments in my life. Not because every painting was perfect. Trust me, they weren't. Not because I woke up one morning and suddenly knew I was an artist. Because I don't. I'm proud because I know what creating them required me to confront within myself, to keep going, Tisha Marie Cain, and I showed up. And the thing that you thought you were creating was creating me, these trees and these birds. And I want to leave you with this. That wisdom is within. Search within, create a practice that you love, that you know, that will light the fire within your soul. I'm Tisha Marie Cain, and this is Beyond Mindset Limits. Until next time, the wisdom isn't somewhere out there waiting for you to find it. Sometimes you need to simply be quiet enough, curious enough, and disciplined enough to hear what has been inside of you all along. Have a good day, you guys.
Thank you for joining Tisha Marie Cain for Beyond Mindset Limits. Tune in every Wednesday at 4 p.m. as the conversation continues around mindset, legal insight, and publishing as a strategic tool for business positioning. Visit TishaMarieCain.com or CainsLegalSupport.com for more information or to schedule your private appointment.